I even see them before that. A teacher had shown me them cut out and folded. That's Kerrigan. This is way, 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 way back. This would have been like right as the book came out. She wanted me to keep it a secret.
Finding acceptance. Sheila stayed separate from Norma when they were engaged with us. So Norma stayed away while Sheila taught us how to fold, and when I was talking to Norma, Sheila had to stay away from her. She was generous enough to give me a little bit of the fixative in a smaller jar, since I couldn't afford the full $50 jar. And she told us that she was gauging the market for Byron to see if there was any interest in wet folding, since it was similar to pottery at the time, but less messy. Fee was like $50 though. Byron did say that there's a secret in every one of those lenticular boxes, and I know what that is. The gem falls exactly to the dig site in each one of those lenticular animations. For instance, in the Chicago lenticular, he leans his head forward and the building swings out towards the viewer, and the gem slides out from the hole underneath the fence there, which would be just in line where the gem was actually found. With Cleveland, it comes out of his tail, falls right down to where they found it there on the right side. And then in Boston, it comes out of her cuff at the end at home plate, falls right at the tip, at the point of home plate. Our friend Wendy is the one that knew all the inside information. So that Illusion website was pretty interesting too, because they had a spot where you could take pictures of yourself or send them in, and it would create a three-dimensional stereogram-ish things, just like a Palancar painting. So we used to call it getting Palancar'd. So technically his name is really a verb. I didn't have a camera at the time, so I drew myself as a self-portrait, and I uploaded those as the images by scanning them. And then it did come back with a three-dimensional image. My friend Harlan was freaked out. He's like, wow, that looks just like you, except my jawline was a little bit bigger, like Wolverine. But it was cool. Getting Palancar was pretty cool. I do remember some talk at the time about the book being the same height. You can see who's got the
Okay,
bigger
we're gonna have
head,
to
yeah?
cut all of this out. Steve's got a Jason puppet, and I've got a Tori puppet.
Chapter 4, Lazarus Taxa. Finding events continued. There were a few things that I didn't mention in the first chapters. After we met with Norma, Lana, and Sheila Head at the folding event, we attended the main event. Byron was dressed down a bit in jeans and cheap-looking sneakers, which was kind of a tell at the time. He had a red polo shirt on, and he showed us several magic tricks that use illusions to trick the eye or the mind. So he was doing some pretty cool tricks. I happened to recognize one of them and caught him off guard because I happened to know how it was done. And the card trick was where the magician excludes or includes a certain group of cards depending on which one the subject picks. So it looks like it's your choice, but really you have no choice because he knows which one it is and you don't. You can just exclude or include the set. He ramped up his game right after that though, and he went on to show us a levitation trick. Let me see if I can try to show you guys right here. So it went something like this. Watch the heels. And you know, he did it really good. And it looked really good when we were like, wow, how'd you do that? And he, so he goes, he faces front with us, and he shows us how he does it in the front. So I was like, oh, well, I felt stupid after that, because pretty simple. Set this up over here. This is actually the second time I have to shoot this because, you know, technology. Matter of fact, I should probably check to make sure it's recording. Yeah, it is still. Damn. You gotta watch it like a hawk though, right? Because otherwise, be like, nope, can't record that for you. So levitation. So he shows this front facing. It's a Balducci trick. So as he's showing it, like, oh, okay, that was so stupid. And then he lifts off with the other foot suddenly. I'm like, what the hell? And he's like this far off the ground, like about 6 inches, and there's no physical looking objects underneath him. The only thing I did notice was the shadow was a bit fuzzy and like striated. As it turns out, yeah, that's kind of what the effect that you get when you get a lenticular shield, which some of the military use things like that to share. They're working on, you know, like the Predator. You can kind of see like there's something there, but you can't make it out exactly. You know, it's like refracting the light around it. So it must have been a lenticular stilt that he used and leaned his weight back on that. But he asked us to catch him if he falls, and he did. He acted like he fell or he did fall from the stilt when he came down. But that's usually it's usually to lock your viewing position. In fact, there was people walking behind, and they were looking over at what's going on, and they looked over, like it brought their attention for a second, then they just kept walking. So it was clearly something it was out of the ordinary, but not too far. They weren't seeing levitation on their side. We were. So they were probably seeing him move his leg out of the pant leg and the shoe, the cheap set of shoes, and then lift his weight up onto the lenticular heel, or stilt or whatever it was. But I didn't know that at the time until later, you know. I was like, wow, I always remember that shadowy figure underneath looked weird, but it definitely didn't look like a solid object either. And then you see the lenticular stuff and them just demonstrating it on TV for government stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see that. Totally makes sense. But there was, yeah, so those people walking by, they didn't see it from their perspective. Oh, but then Byron did another trick that was pretty unbelievable. So he got a Oriental carpet out. I forget what type it was. I used to work at a place with carpets. Like, it was like a Baccara or an Inauguration or something. They had the little medallion things all in a row. And he put the carpet down, and then he started manipulating it like with his arms and orchestrating it. And it was flying up in the air in the middle of the mall now. And there didn't appear to be any lines or anything. It's a heavy rug. I don't think fishing line would work on it. I can't explain how he did that one, but it did look like it looked like it swung for a moment. That could have been a rig of some type that you can't see. But I don't think it was string swinging. It didn't swing like it was a string, so it looked like it was on something of a rig. But obviously it was pure magic, 100%. You know, he's cool. Finding Illusion, and okay, so there's a German copy of that Illusion CD. Happened to see one real cheap on eBay. Picked it up for $4, but unfortunately, he sent it first sent international. I knew that was going to be a problem too, and sure enough, I haven't got it. It was like January, February I ordered it. I got my money back for it, I guess. Not that I wanted it. I wanted the item, not the money back. But he said he sent it, and sometimes they're saying it'll come in months later, 6 months later. So I might see it still, June, July, August. I don't know why it would take that long to ship something, but unfortunately, yeah. So the Illusion, the German CD has a couple extras in there, and then like it's got a lenticular, the Illusion name itself on the front of the CD is a lenticular, so you move, you can see it shimmer. There's a silhouette around those buildings there, and it's a lighter colored blue. So it's essentially a lighter color striated blue and then a darker outline around it, showing you that the outlining and silhouetting of cities and towns is important in the secret. They probably didn't want you to think too much about the silhouetting stuff, because then you could rapidly solve the secret really quick back in those days. And it probably would have been, in fact. Oh yeah, now some new information. Finding brass kirigami puppet illusions. The calendar had additional prizes for solvers. Brass kirigami puppets were created by a known braiser at the time. I don't remember his name, but I know he was supposed to be a good braiser. There's 2 sets of them. One for the grand prize and one for the individual prizes that somebody might win. And I believe it was Palancar that painted the surface of those puppets, as I remember it saying. So the original illustrator, and he is the original illustrator. So unless there was somebody before Palancar, it has to be him. The calendar had pictures of these brass puppets, but the problem was they were from an angle far off to the side. So it just made them over distorted, and you couldn't tell how to duplicate that fold. You'd have to have solved the silhouette problem first, then said, hey, does this look like the kirigami puppet? And then you'd be able to match it. But the funny thing is, even though it was showing you the actual kirigami puppet actually folded the way it was supposed to be, it didn't help. I tried so many times. I'm like, how the heck do you make it look like that? It looked like it was just stretched, graphically. It didn't look like it was a real thing. But that's what happens when you fold it with the distortions. Just right with the right lighting. The right colors and the right lighting and everything, right? Circumstances, the right movement, the right angles. Yeah, so they were really distorted. Couldn't really make them out. couldn't solve it that way. But if you solved it first, you could then match it to confirm that you solved it. I thought that was pretty cool, but also... Yeah, so the only way I was able to match, I was able to figure out which ones were which at least because of the color patterns. But that didn't help me, you got to do that first, figure out which one is which one. Because it's extremely distorted when they're from the side. Finding Alex J. Yay! About a year later, Alex J came to the mall with a woman. He updated us on the grand prize details. The grand prize details were in the calendar. So at the top in the middle of the calendar, it talked about if you solve the thing, you get the $100,000 prize, and you become the emperor. And then anybody that talks about the secret, yada yada, gets trolled for life or something like that. And legal action will ensue. Sheila had said never crease them. Oh, and by the way, here's an extra secret. So, yeah, Sheila had said to never crease your folds. They can be sharp, but they can't be creased. Sharp curves. So when you're silhouetting, you're not always going to just follow a single silhouette part. If you stop at a crease point in your silhouette, then that's not the fold. It switches usually to the other side, so there'll be always a way where, oh, no, it's on that side, oh, now it flips to the other side of his tail in Cleveland. So you'll be able to find the silhouette. You can't find one single silhouette because there's crease on both sides, but they're not creased in the same spot, so you use this curve there and that curve there. So I hope that helps some people there. Oh yeah, so the directions to become the emperor and win the $100,000 prize were pretty clear. We had 1 year to figure out all of the folds and display them without breaking the copyright. Now at the time we didn't know really what that meant, and he told us a little bit about things that were going on in terms of that it was resolved in the court and stuff. Yeah, there was a delay because some sort of court litigation. The issue was resolved in a Japanese court system, I believe. And it seemed pretty simple. The woman with Alex J that came with him, I don't know if it was his wife or just somebody working for Byron too at the time. She taught us how to fold again, just like Sheila had. So it's like a refresher course. But this time she also taught us how to fold diagonally. And so we learned how to fold Milwaukee, so the cape waves in the breeze. So that's the secret fold there that I haven't revealed yet. And that one's important because the gem falls from the cape in that particular. So we got the Mechanical Man, the Juggernaut Juggler. We saw the Montreal Hall of Face with full topology in the face, so that was really detailed. We saw the Lion and the Butterfly as an exhibit, and it had like a line to stand at, 2 lines actually. So you stood at one, and it showed you how to move. So it would show you like a line and a circle, and so you go in a circle with your eye, get your eye level here, circle around. And then you would step up to the second line, and the sensor would go off, and it would give you the other fold. So there's a vertical and a horizontal fold. You see these. So the lion and the butterfly. So she's dancing at first when you're far away, and then when you get in close, when you go up to down, she flies. She flies really good too. So she dances really well. Her feet twist. That one's super smooth and good. The chest area clearly is gyrating back and forth as she's dancing, and then when you get in close, she's really flapping those. When you can get her to do all sorts of cool stuff when she's flying. You can get her to kind of land, like they back flutter. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the lion gets angry, and if you view down the corner near the gem, he's like, "Arr." He's all happy when you're up, and then when you're down, he's like, "Arr." Yeah. Yeah, the mask below the lion morphs like islands moving around. Yeah, remember that mask near, that one was really prominent. It stuck out, it really caught your eye that it was kind of moving and shifting. The bookends were cast in acrylic resin, floating in liquid. San Francisco and New York were the 2 bookends. Yeah, they were cast in acrylic, and there was like liquid inside, so they kind of floated. I'm not going to give too much about that. And, here's a really big one. I remember seeing those Chinese, the illusions in Chinese food restaurants back in the late 70s, early 80s. So they had the fans. So usually the fans would come out and they're creased. But these fans were not creased, they were curved. And of course, yes indeed, the birds flew, they landed, the ladies danced. And yeah, they all animated. Like the music was playing, you could go move back and forth and make the lady dance to the music.